No one ever taught you how to talk about your feelings. You were taught how to handle things. If you're a baby boomer, you grew up in a world that didn't pause for emotions. You fell down, got back up and kept moving. No audience, no applause. And now, decades later, you're being told you're out of touch. Too rigid, too tough, too old school. But here's what no one says out loud. When things get hard, when systems break, when panic spreads, everyone still looks to you. Because while other generations learned how to express stress, you learned how to survive it. And that didn't happen by accident. It was built slowly, quietly, through history, hardship, and a world that demanded strength long before it offered comfort. Boomers were born into rebuilding, not comfort. Your parents didn't ask, "How do you feel?" They asked, "Did you do your job?" Psychologists call this an effort-based identity. You learned early that worth came from contribution, not attention. If you're a boomer, work wasn't optional. It was how you proved reliability. You didn't expect motivation to magically appear. You generated it. You watched entire neighborhoods rise from dirt, families climb slowly. Progress measured in years, not updates. That's why modern burnout language feels strange to you. Not because you don't feel tired, but because you were trained to move through fatigue. That isn't emotional blindness, that's endurance. Your childhood wasn't peaceful, it was loud. Civil rights marches, Vietnam, assassinations on live TV, protests filling the streets, and yet, life went on. Psychologists call this early exposure resilience. When uncertainty becomes normal, the nervous system learns to stay steady inside chaos. If you're a boomer, you don't collapse when things feel unresolved. You've lived in unresolved times before, that's why today's constant outrage feels exhausting to you. You don't deny problems, you just know panic doesn't solve them. You learned something younger generations are still trying to figure out. Strength isn't the absence of fear, it's functioning despite it. You didn't grow up curating people, you grew up depending on them. Neighbours mattered, communities mattered. Walking away wasn't always an option, so you learned how to stay. Psychologists call this bond-based stability. Relationships weren't disposable, so conflict didn't end everything. If you're a boomer, loyalty feels natural. Quitting doesn't. Ghosting feels wrong. Commitment feels grounding. That's why today's disposable relationships can feel hollow to you. You remember when belonging came from showing up, not branding yourself. And here's the irony. The world is lonelier than ever, and it's quietly rediscovering the value of the bonds you were raised on. Let's clear this up. Boomers don't fear change. You've outlived it. You went from rotary phones to smartphones, from paper checks to digital everything, from local news to non-stop noise. Psychologists call this adaptive toughness, updating skills without losing identity. If you're a boomer, technology is a tool, not an extension of your self-worth. You can unplug without panicking. That's why trends don't impress you. You've seen versions of them before, just louder. You don't chase novelty, you measure usefulness. That's not resistance, that's discernment. You weren't raised on validation, you were raised on expectation. Psychologists call this internalized resilience, strength that exists even when no one is watching. If you're a boomer, you don't announce struggle, you solve it. You don't perform hardship, you endure it. And when things break, families, systems, economies, people still turn to the ones who stay calm when the noise spikes. That's you, not because you're louder, but because you're steadier. So no, baby boomers aren't outdated. You are the generation that learned how to stand when nothing was padded, how to work without applause, how to stay grounded while the world shook. If you're a boomer, your strength doesn't trend, but it lasts. Drop a comment with a memory that shaped you, your first job, a historic moment, a time you had to be strong without help. Tag a boomer who never gets enough credit, and subscribe for psychology that doesn't flatten generations into stereotypes. Because resilience like yours, it doesn't announce itself, it holds everything together.